Chauhan, what a start to your segment. You had the entire audience with you chanting Intel, but at the cost of a lot of goodie bags. I'm sure that will be taken care of. Mr. Chauhan, as the Parampara, Pratishtha and Anusashan of TrustCon, right? We have one question for you, for which we'd love a one-line answer. So one small line answer. So how has developing new growth areas professionally helped you grow new growth areas in personal life? That is our question. We'd love your answer on, sir.
Obviously, sorry, very difficult to answer it very impromptuly, but I think yes, COVID, there are a lot of development areas that we saw through, which was both professional as well as personal. And I think with the esteemed panel, we heard about a lot of experiences that we had, metaverse, collaboration, next generation, etc. I think a lot of new stuffs to learn, and every day is a new beginning. And as Mr. Rajgopalan said, I think change is inevitable, and that's the only constant.
Fantastic. Mr. Chauhan seems to have cracked the pattern. Stage is all yours, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Okay, finally. So very good morning and very warm welcome. Sorry for this flutter, but it seems like last time I did this sort of a presentation was Feb 2020, close to 27 months. And boy, what the journey all of us has been through, right? This is the days that all of us went through grit, determination, courage, characteristic, and all the more resilience, right? I think fundamentally during this time frame or whatever 27 odd months that we had, one thing which has fundamentally altered our perception forever is about technology, right? What we really could not achieve in last couple of decades in form of technology transformation was really achieved in last couple of years. And that precisely brings us to this topic of technology-led transformation. Now to start with, I think digital transformation has been a buzzword from last decade or so, and obviously there are various other terminologies which kept on coming. But if you really look at technology, digital transformation, it is not a very straightforward journey always, right? There are challenges which are there. Our customers and our partners really dwell through those challenges, try and make roadmaps for their success. And out of those challenges, that is what Intel really thrives on. We really look forward to these challenges, which we can convert them into opportunities, really to improve lives of the people globally. But when we talk about these challenges and technology-led transformations, okay, what we believe in this technology-led transformation, there are 4 superpowers of growth that we believe are really leading this transformation. To start with, first and foremost is artificial intelligence. And I think during this session, Dr. Neeta Verma spoke about it at length. Our panelist also mentioned about artificial intelligence. I think AI is no more a futuristic technology, right? It has all transgressed the boundaries of future technologies to strategy in every CIO's list, which is their to-do list. And to that, we've seen some very real deployments happening, right? We engage with our customers very, very regularly. And to set of customers who are leaders, we've seen artificial intelligence cases which are like in a single organization, we've got 10 to 15 different use cases on AI. Certain organizations, they are just adapting and embracing AI, and we would have seen use cases in tune of at least 5 to 7 different unique UI cases, AI cases. And obviously for few of our laggards who are there, at least they've embarked the journey of AI, right? They're starting to do POC, they're starting to work with and try to play on that technology. But essentially what we really believe is somebody who is not adopting AI at this juncture are going to be left behind in a very, very big way. Today, if you look at AI and the adoption of AI which has happened across verticals, you talk about financial services, you talk about manufacturing, you talk about transportation, retail, oil and gas, energy, and last but not the least, government. The kind of embracement this which is done has been phenomenal. And not only at customer point of view, but even if you look at our partner ecosystem, typically when you talk to system integrators, you talk to cloud service providers, you speak to managed service providers, solution providers, your ISVs, OEMs, everybody has a dedicated practice for AI today. And if you believe me, I think today most of their bottom lines are driven on AI. So this is one technology which is going to be very, very fundamental when we talk about digital transformation. The second one, what we feel, is about pervasive connectivity, right? Today we are talking about connective devices, right? Everything is connected. And when you're talking about connective devices, I believe future lies in network, right? Network which is open, network which is programmable, network which is software defined. Essentially, when we talk about pervasive connectivity, we are talking about everything connected with everyone as a device. If you ask me, it really helps us to unite our in-house technologies and data, where our assets can really leverage that data and start functioning or performing optimally. That's pervasive connectivity. What pervasive connectivity also helps us is to give a very integrated experience, right? An end user integrated experience across multiple devices. Now you are not very limited anything with your handset, to your tablet, to your laptop, to your desktop, to your workstation. Across seamlessly, you can collaborate, you can work on the data, you can work on the documents on the go. Last but not the least, today because of pervasive connectivity, if you see from edge to cloud, you've got so many intelligent devices, end user devices that are there, which are very much on high bandwidth. They are very, very latency sensitive, so they've got low latency. Also, they have an ability to do analysis at the edge, which really gives a lot of use cases like your cloud services, your cloud gaming, your streaming services, and obviously your virtual workload. So that is on pervasive connectivity, which is going to be a very critical vector for growth. The third one which we look at it is ubiquitous compute. And when we say about ubiquitous compute, we are talking about connective devices where we are trying to tap the potential of those connective devices in form of a compute. Today, if you look at every possible devices which are there, are sort of a compute in themselves, right? Earlier you had appliances which had a very fixed functionality. So you had a router, you had a switch, it only used to do that function. Today you've got devices which are programmable in nature, right? And hence those devices which are always connected and always ready for compute are going to be the future. And that is what we call ubiquitous computing. The last piece is what we call cloud to edge infrastructure. So what we spoke about, these three key growth areas or vectors need tremendous computing power for them to work with, right? And that is what is provided from edge to cloud infrastructure. Now, this is whether we are talking about intelligent devices which are at edge, we are talking about servers which are at data center, or we are talking about a cloud infrastructure. End-to-end empowerment of these devices is what really Intel aspires. That is what we give as an infrastructure to our customer. So I think these are four key areas or four areas what we call our superpowers of growth. Moving forward, I mean, one of the reasons what we wanted to make it was also to make it country-centric. And sorry. Okay. The idea behind this, today if you look India as a country, I think we are transforming phenomenally. The rate at which digital transformation is happening in this country, the scale and speed is unprecedented. Today we are growing by leaps and bounds, and specifically if you look at the startup ecosystem that we have, the kind of growth trajectory that they have is immense. A few of the figures that I really read about was, I think beginning of this month, we achieved a landmark of 100th unicorn. And today if you look at the valuation of unicorn, it is close to around $343 billion odd dollars. Last year we had around 44 unicorns with a combined value of close to around $93 billion. That's the kind of leap that we are making in our startup ecosystem. Today if you look at India, we are third largest startup ecosystem provider globally after US and China. That's the kind of might, that's the kind of size that we have. Obviously, I believe everything is not hunky-dory. There are certain factors which are impacting the evaluation, right from your economy to your geopolitical situation which is there, inflation, so on and so forth. But these are all temporary blips which are there, but in longer term, there's huge potential, huge growth that we see in this particular segment. Now, the real question is, what is powering all these things? The main reason for this is cloudification. The amount of technology that cloud really brings today is immense, right? The kind of scale and efficiency, what could be achieved by cloud is unparalleled. And that is the reason when you look at those digital natives, when you look at those startup ecosystem, they are leveraging this fundamental cloud technology both for your scale as well as the speed of implementation or deployment which is there. Essentially, if I had to sum it up, cloud today is a cornerstone of technology, right? Everything in cloud is there, right? So it is not only the digital natives, or it is not only the startups who are leveraging it. We would have seen during the panel discussion, this enterprise who is embracing, who is adopting AI on a very, very big scale. Apart from startup, apart from enterprise, I think one other vertical which is immensely providing impetus is obviously the government. In morning, Dr. Neeta Verma spoke about various initiatives which are there on cloud. But I think few of them which really comes to our mind, and specifically during this pandemic era, I think one of the largest use cases that we saw on cloud was a COVID application, right? An application which catered to more than 90% of population, which helped in terms of a digitized platform for vaccination. And if I believe it, at the latest numbers, we are talking about 1.9 billion vaccination being done on that cloud platform of CoWIN. And great pride for us that CoWIN platform is built on Intel x86 architecture. Imagine the capability where you got millions of hit. At one point of time, it was like couple of millions in terms of registration during peak COVID period. That's the kind of sustainability, that's the kind of scale that we are talking about when we speak of cloud. After COVID, obviously, you had applications like Arogya Setu. Even if you look at the budget closely this year, they are talking about telemedicine, they are talking about teleconsultation, a lot of stuff which is done on the health sector front. Also, there are a lot of stuff which is happening on e-courts, which is happening on digitization, intention of government in terms of launching your digital currency by central bank RBI, which would happen. Even in terms of taxation, if you look at direct taxes, today, for all of us are surprised. Last year, if I remember, somewhere in November time frame or maybe October, we had 2 automated statements coming to our inbox, or maybe when you visited or log into income tax site. One was your annual income summary, and second was your tax information summary. And believe me, we do not need CAs anymore. The kind of data that government can tap into, analyze and extract for you, whether it was your saving banks account, whether it was your FD interest, whether it was your dividend, whether it was your demat transaction, whether it was long term, short term, everything possible in one single piece of paper. Similarly, you also had all your TDSs, tax information, done on those papers. So that's the kind of leap and growth which government is looking from cloud perspective. Apart from cloud, I think there are few more technologies which are going to make very material impact in this. Obviously, the 5G one is the most spoken about, and as we go, I think by 2025, we expect more than 300 million customers getting into 5G. And as we speak on 5G, if everything goes on track, if spectrum bidding, etc. happens, we'll see. Today, we work very, very closely with all these large 3 communication service providers in the country, and most of them, or at least 2 of them, are ready to roll out with their 5G plans. So I think when everything is materialized, probably we would see that implementation happening much more faster. There are a lot of use cases that would come along with 5G, use cases which would be in FSI around ATMs, use cases in manufacturing. Specifically, we see there will be a lot of boost and impetus which your industry 4.0 would get through 5G, where there will be deployment of a lot of private networks in manufacturing firm that would happen, and that would typically leverage all the applications which are latency sensitive to be doing their optimization much better than what they are currently doing, right? That would help whether it is your shop floor automation, whether it is your defect detection, so on and so forth. So tons and tons of new use cases which would emerge with 5G. Apart from that, obviously there would be cloud, there would be edge stuff, but these are 3 or 4 things which really brings powering new connected economy for us. So next biggest thing for a CIO is saying, when there are so many technology avenues which are available for us, what is the areas that they really need to look for? I think first and foremost, what they need to plan is for interoperability and scalability. And when we are speaking about the cloud, I think this becomes very, very important and pertinent. Today, I don't think cloud is an option, right? Cloud is inevitable, and most of our customers, I think more than 90% plus customers, have adopted cloud in one or the other way. There are various discussions that we're having, whether we should go with on-prem, whether should it be public, will it be multi-cloud, hybrid. What I essentially believe, one, obviously, there are options which are there on hybrid. So you would have a set of customers, unless until you are cloud-born digital native where you are completely on public cloud. But I think most of the enterprise customers that we see, specifically from FSI point of view, you would have hybrid cloud environment, right? Where you would have on-prem deployment as well as you have public cloud deployment. Even in public cloud deployment, you would have, for public cloud deployment, you will have multi-cloud deployment which would happen. That essentially means that for different workloads, people would choose different hyperscalers, right? Each of the hyperscalers have a specific speciality or have specific neck for implementing those workloads. So we've seen people for collaboration going to one hyperscaler, for AI analytics to another one, for ERP, SAP, the third one. So multi-cloud environment is definitely going to be there. The other questions that we generally find from our customers in terms of what are the workloads that they should really keep it on-prem, what are the workloads that they should migrate on cloud. I think there's a lot of white papers and science behind it, but effectively I think there are 4 factors which really define whether your workload would be on-prem or whether your workload would be on public cloud. First, obviously, is the cost part, depending upon where do you want to see, is it going to be a larger deployment on-prem versus a very less liability which is going to be there on the cloud. The second is the control piece, how closely you want to own and monitor the data. The third piece would be your security and compliance part, right? So a lot of data, specifically for FSI, etc., with RBI mandate is going to be on-prem. It would be very difficult unless until you have specific nuances to work on the public cloud part. And the fourth piece which would be there is the scalability portion. Depending upon your business, whether it is cyclical in nature, whether it is constant, you need to decide whether will it be a predictable on-prem or for unpredictable data, would you want to go with your public cloud. So these are those 3 or 4 factors that would decide on interoperability and scalability. The next, I think, is the AI piece, which really spoke in my earlier slide. The third one is confidential computing. I think a lot of discussion happened in the previous panel which spoke about confidential computing. Today, if you look at the data which is getting analyzed or which is where we are going to use artificial intelligence, I think there is always a challenge which is going to be arising on security. Obviously, you can work with third parties in really bringing down the cost for securities, but there is always a risk of security as well as trust. And hence, there is this concept of confidential computing, which basically is a zero trust security, right? You do not trust on anybody. It's based on your zero trust security modules. And this zero trust really allows you to collaborate with multiple parties across multiple cloud, right? This is a hardware-based encryption, which Intel provides along with collaboration with various ISVs, various OEMs, where your data in all possible state is encrypted. So whether you are talking about data which is at rest, you are talking about data which is in flight, or you are talking about data which is getting processed. So essentially, that's the way forward in terms of protecting the data. Last but not the least is to leverage on pre-integrated solution. Now, typically, you do not need to reinvent the cycle when you're trying to do a digital transformation or you are trying to do what do you call sizing or even the landscape or re-architecturing of your digital transformation. There are solutions, pre-validated solutions already available, and that is what Intel along with the partner tries and brings to the customer. For example, today you would see a lot of engineering systems or appliances which are available. For example, anything on database, you would have engineering systems from Oracle, like for example, Exadata. And those boxes are completely built on Intel technologies. Be it you talk about CPU, you talk about latest cutting edge persistent memory, you talk about Intel SSD drives, you talk about Intel Ethernet, right? These are the boxes which are pre-engineered, which are pre-designed to best suit your workload. There are examples of SAP HANA appliances, right? These are the appliances which are pre-configured, pre-sized, pre-validated by SAP. What you need to figure out is what is the number of SAPs that you require, what are the applications which would move along with SAP, and then you can decide on the box. So today, if you see, a lot of large enterprises are really lapping up in terms of this pre-engineered, pre-configured system for their usage. Not only for ERP database, but we also see this out-of-box solutions which are on a lot of hyper-converged infrastructure providers as well, where you have both your HCI software as well as hardware integrated, take it out of the box, and it is just a plug and play for you. What Intel does is Intel works with all these ecosystem partners very, very closely, be it your SI, be it your cloud service provider, be it your managed service provider, ISV, OEMs, and works on those ready to deploy recipes. Today, we have got more than 500 market ready solutions across verticals, which you can really take out and you start deploying it rather than really getting into customization, getting into long deployment cycles, etc. So the next question is, how can really Intel help in terms of deploying these solutions? What is the, sorry, this is a little busy slide, but I'll just quickly take 4 or 5 minutes in terms of explaining the Intel product portfolio. Now, Intel, what it brings is a wide range of portfolio, which is very, very high in performance, which is secured and which is agile, right? Which really helps you to give a cost-effective, flexible, deployable solution which is there. Now, when you talk about Intel, most of us know as one of the largest organizations for silicon products and, of course, processor and CPU manufacturing. But apart from that, what we also provide or what we also bring on table is a lot of stuff which is on whether it is SoC, whether it is on 5G networks, whether it is on AI, whether it is on graphics, on IoT, and so on and so forth, including autonomous driving. One of our companies, Mobileye, is one of the leading organizations who are driving your standards on autonomous driving. So that is what Intel does. Even if you look at pedigree of Intel, what we do is work very, very closely with our ecosystem partners in terms of getting you a standardized open platforms which are available. So for example, if you know, we are the one who bought standards for Ethernet in 1980, floating point in 1985. You talk about USB, those are standards which were developed by Intel and then promoted by our partners. You talk about Wi-Fi, you talk about Thunderbolt, you talk about DDR memory, you talk about PCI Express. So that is what, when it comes to as a product, these are all standards which are developed by Intel, and that is what we bring on table. If you quickly look at the portfolio which is there, starting from the hardware piece, we divide into various business centers or various business groups that we have. First and foremost is our client computing group, and as Varnish was talking about, today, whether you talk about desktop, you talk about notebooks, you talk about all-in-one, you talk about surfaces, the state of the product or CPU that we bring is phenomenal. Our latest 12th generation CPU which is there provides a tremendous combination of both performance as well as power saving which is there, right? In fact, what we bring on table is reliability, we bring in performance, we bring in security, what Manish was talking about, Wipro as a platform, Wipro as a technology for you, not only to do remote management, a lot of security stuff. Today, CPU does not only provide you the capability of computing, what it also provides you, for example, there are embedded video accelerators, which really helps you during your visual or virtual calls, whether it is on Zoom, whether it is on Microsoft Teams. There are network accelerators which are inbuilt within the CPU, which really optimizes your network bandwidth, which can give you a very seamless experience even during the low bandwidth. So those are the features which are very much integrated in our CCG portfolio. Obviously, the next one is ubiquitous data center portfolio. And today, if you see, most of the enterprises across globe runs on Intel x86 architecture. Not only your on-prem enterprise workloads, but even if you look at the public cloud, that's the major lion's share that Intel has across all large hyperscalers or what we call Super 7 globally, which works on Intel x86 servers. Apart from enterprise workloads, what we also invest heavily is on artificial intelligence, right? Whether you're talking about machine learning, we are talking about deep learning, you're talking about training, you're talking about inference. We've got specific accelerators which can help you do that. For example, you got Habana, that's our organization which also has a specific AI accelerators which are there. We've got something called Movidius, which is used for a lot of IoT stuff where they are going to use inference which is going to happen at edge rather than bring it all the way to data centers. We've got accelerators in form of field programmable gateway arrays or of what we call FPGAs, which is statics and ARIA. And obviously we've got range of graphic cards which are both integrated and discrete in terms of iris. So that's the kind of lineup that we have for hardware. Obviously, to top it up, we have got very cutting edge technologies like Optane, which is available, which are a persistent memory, not a volatile memory, which is in form of both your PMEMs or what you call DDR memories, as well as in form of your SSD drives or Optane drives. The next piece which lies over the hardware is your software and tools. And I think very few people know about our contribution to the software piece. So while we work on hardware, while we work on ecosystem, but there are huge collaborations that we do in software piece. You would be glad to know that we work on close to 100 plus operating system in terms of optimizing them before it comes to you. We are the largest contributor for Linux kernel globally. We are third largest contributor in terms of Chrome OS. We are in top 10 contributors for OpenStack, right? We are also one of the leading companies in 5G standardizations. So that's the kind of work that we do for the industry along with our partners. And hence, we would have a lot of libraries, we would have a lot of tools which are there in form of Python in terms of your Intel data analytics acceleration that we have, which really helps you in terms of customizing your workloads, making it ready both for AI as well as analytics. And to top it up, we also have various toolkits. Now, these are toolkits which you can really use, your developers can really work with and use for the specific use cases which are intended for your workloads. Last but not the least, there are solutions, the market-ready solutions that I spoke about for all possible verticals that you can think about. You're talking about FSI, be it your core banking, eKYC, video KYC, your wealth management, portfolio management, your anti-money laundering, CFT-based solutions. There are a lot of stuff that we can really work with you. In terms of healthcare, in terms of energy, in terms of transportation, there would be hundreds of market-ready solutions that we can really collaborate with you as customers. So to just summarize and to just give you overall brief, first, I think this is a new normal, the future is here, which is laced with pandemic. I think I read a very interesting quote which says, remote working is a result of a pandemic, and I heard Kirti Madam also talking about remote management collaboration. I think there is a very interesting perspective which says remote working is an ability or is a democratization of opportunity and talent. No longer people need really move from their towns and cities and come to metro to do that work. Now they can collaborate seamlessly from locations where they are located. And hence we really feel this post-pandemic era is going to be a slingshot which would really provide velocity in terms of digital transformation which all of us are aiming for. The second one is to start with your tech stack. Whatever solutions that we have, start building up with emerging tech, and we are there as a solution partner really to help you transform in that journey. Last but not the least, collaborate with Intel. I mean, we are there in this industry for more than 5 decades. We continue to be your technology advisors, your technology partners. I mean, we are there in terms of whether you want to do re-architecting, whether you want to do resizing, whether you want to do digital transformation. We can really work with you in terms of doing technical POCs, evaluation, bring ecosystem partner to make it more cohesive and conducive. So with this, I will end my session. Thank you very much. It was fantastic. As I said, it was an opportunity for me to interact with you face to face, privilege and pleasure. Look forward to interacting with you. Best wishes and take care of yourself and your health. Thank you very much.